I've mostly played with NVIDIA AI Workbench. I've like done some minor project work with it, picked up some of my other projects and put them into the Workbench. And the one that initially got me was version control management. How do I, once I've cloned my project or forked somebody else's project and I put it in here, how do I manage the version control? And NVIDIA's working on that challenge, and there are like 4 different default ways for me that I can do it. The first one is you can actually use the user interface provided by NVIDIA themselves, and this is the 0.86.20 release, and they've added diff capabilities now, so you can see the files that you're going to commit, and you can actually discard the changes, and you can add files to the .gitignore. In this case, I'm not sure what I'm going to do here, because these 3 probably are notebooks that are now bigger because they've all been run. So I really, I know, I just won't commit them, right? So this user interface isn't too bad. It's pretty simple. It also supports file history, which it's done for a while, and now it supports branches, so you can actually change branches. So you can do basic branch work here now, and you can get changes. I think that's pretty cool. They've done a reasonable job at that. The next one you can do is actually you a lot of times in NVIDIA AI Workstation, you're going to be in a Jupyter notebook. If you're in something else, then the next 2 of these don't apply. These are notebook-specific solutions, and in this case, I'm going to use Jupyter Notebook-Git, which is an extension. And in some cases, they're installing this now. A little bit of an issue with that in one of the branches I'm looking at. But basically, this is sort of the default UI you get when you have an IDE-based extension. And so somebody did a pretty okay job with this here, right? So we can add things to the commit set. We can stash them, which is kind of cool. That's a step up over the other one. And that works pretty well. The next one we can do, I've shown before, and this is... So you can see here, this is a terminal window that I opened inside a Jupyter Notebook. This is a feature of Jupyter Notebook, and you do command line. I'm a command line person, so I do a fair amount of work that way, and the terminal actually makes that possible for me. The 4th way that I found, and I'm sure there's plenty more than this, is like now also new with 0.86.20, and I think it's cool, but that probably is more of a comment on me than anything else. It turns out they now have the ability, here we go. So you can see here that they have this applications thing now, and now you can actually, you can actually add other applications to a containerized environment. So by default, it's pretty empty, then you can add it. The one that it actually supports out of the box is Visual Studio Code, and this calls for a restart or a rebuild. It turns out, in my experience, it didn't actually need a rebuild. So I'm not sure what's happening there. It just kind of popped out on its own. And you can see this is the same project. This is the Kaggle container that I was playing with. And this is Visual Studio Code actually remoted into the container, containerized environment for AI Workstation. I think this is pretty cool. So that's it, man. 4 ways to do that. Hopefully one of those will work for you.